So we need to talk about convertors. Convertors. Company is called Select, 1984. Sold repackaged Japanese toys, usually cheap ones, under the Convertors brand, and they made up little stories for them that made no sense. And this one in particular, of course, we know is the Macross from the series Macross. It's the space battleship that is the titular kind of mech in the series that the whole inhabitants of Macross Island live on while out in space and fight against the Zentradi and all that. So toy maker Takatoku made the big toys, but the smaller toys either went to companies like Mark, but they also went to Takatoku as well. I'm not sure if it was Mark or Takatoku that made this. I think it's Takatoku made this, but I'm sure we'll see a copyright mark as we get into it. But this is the cheap toy version of the SDF-1 from Japan, and it's basically just repackaged for U.S. market. Before we get into the toy, we're gonna look at the card here. So his name in Convertors is NOFKA, and he's the enemy of the Earth. These are the bad guys, the maladroids, mal being bad, right? NOFKA mercenary sold his service to maladroids, never strikes when foe is looking. So they tried to make this like it's a character, right? But this art is straight up off of the Japanese box art. And this data bit here is, you know, just, it says Macross right in it. It says how it's a 1,200 meters long and weighs 18 million tons, and the main cannon's over technology Macross bow firings. It's just like it's all you know, jibber jabber, but it's lifted directly off the package. So the U.S. company was Select, and then the Japanese company was Mark, but Mark also, I think, was a branch of Takatoku, yada yada yada. So in the back, they give you a little bit of information here and about the Maladroid. Maladroid robots from the Malakon galaxy were sent to Earth to destroy and enslave all its inhabitants. They convert from spaceships to menacing robots. The only ones that can stop them are the Defenders. So it's the other figures of Defenders. And it gives you transformation instructions here. It's fine. That's fine. The card is beautiful, but it's not on the card. It's right here. And it's kind of a beautiful little toy. Finding these loose and unbroken and complete, it's rare, right? I mean, they're not terribly expensive, but it's just sort of still a rare find. They're very brittle. This blue plastic is just unthinkably brittle. Like, I'm really dancing with the devil here, playing with it. But it's basically, you know, the SDF-1. You might know it from Robotech, you might know it from Macross, but it's kind of unmistakable. And it's interesting because the color is actually pretty close to like the illustration color, right? Which is kind of cool. The bigger toys are like white and blue and red. Like, this is actually kind of close to illustration color. So it's fun. I think it looks good. I think it, you know, it's a cool piece, and I like how the ships here that dock to the arms are different, right? Because they are in the anime. They're different ships. The Daedalus maneuver, I think, is what we called when we punched through the Zentradi warship with that one arm. Super cool. We'll transform it. You might not be too excited about that. All right, guys, watch me try to not break this, okay? So first thing we do, and it's a different transformation than the toy, because this one involves a little parts forming. So these sections come off, okay? And then this comes up, and then the whole section turns around, okay? Like so. And then this section here slides forward, right? There's not a lot of clearance because the screws are in the way, if you can see the screws inside. And I thought that these would kind of lock in better, but they really don't. There's nothing to kind of lock it in. So it just kind of sits like this, right? Of course, you have to turn these around and turn that around. point your cannons forward. Okay, see, this is what you got. Again, it's not great. It's not great, but it is what it is. I really wish I could find like a copyright stamp in here somewhere, but I cannot. So then what you do is you take the front parts, front cannons, stick them together, and make sure that these parts are up. And then you just sort of inject it into the front. And pray you don't break it. You know that's gonna do. It's about as far as it's gonna go. So in this, basically, there's the ship. I mean, of course it's a huge fucking mess, right? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, this is just up in the air, and like, I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, I don't know, but like, it feels like there should be a little, like, the legs don't lock into place. Like, this doesn't, it's crappy, right? But it's supposed to be crappy. It's a cheap toy. And, you know, it's the Macross from Macross, or Robotech from the SDF-1, whatever you want to call it, or NOFKA from Convertors. Yeah, it's a fun piece. Cheap, fragile, but, you know, it's a nice piece to have in your collection, and nice to, like, I love just, like, I love this, right? I love the grid. I love the 3D letters with the lens flare, and like, can we make yeah, how about we have like a chrome horizon? Can we make it orange? Yes. It's just cool. But that's all there is to it. Yeah. This is Josh, CollectionDX. Thanks for watching. Be sure to visit our Patreon. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to tell your friends you love them, because, you know, any day could be your last day on Earth, or their last day on Earth. So, or your hometown could be sucked up into a space fold and brought out into space, and you have to survive off giant fish heads while living in the bowels of a transforming spaceship fighting aliens. That could happen too, but it probably won't.